It's been a while since we were here last. I haven't had many sketchbooks to like show you for a good while now. Because I always struggle with finishing sketchbooks and I don't want to do a sketchbook tour before I'm finished. Like, I have a few now from like before that I could go through, but I want to go through the most recent one. There we go. Started January, like in the middle of January technically. I finished it in like a month and a half, roughly. When I got the sketchbook, I was not doing great mentally, and in a way, like, it helped. It stopped me from working in the sketchbook that I was working on at the time, but then my mom was kind enough to send me money so I could go buy this one. And this has been like the best sketchbook experience I've had in a very long time. Because I kind of let loose. I let go. Before, if you've seen my earlier sketchbook tours, I try to make the pages look nice, look aesthetically pleasing and whatnot. And that just doesn't work. It just doesn't. It's like you want to have it look all nice and pretty to flip through, but that restricts you in what you're doing. So when I got this sketchbook, I'm going to show you here in the back. It's the Leuchtturm sketchbook, by the way, specifically the one with the blue label. This is the kind of sketchbook that I always use. But yeah, you can, if you look here, the actual text block of the sketchbook is crooked. It's glued on wrong. You can see it here as well, like it peeks through. It's completely lopsided. And due to the nature of that, at first I was very much, like, because I'm a perfectionist to some degree, I can't use this sketchbook. I need to go get a new one, but they're kind of expensive. They're around $25. But yeah, they're expensive, but it's crooked. How can I use it? So instead, I just decided to call it the fuck it. I wrote a little bit, this book may be crooked, but nothing has to be perfect. Color outside the lines, fuck around, and have fun. So I just named my sketchbook the fuck it. And that turned into the best decision I've ever had. And this is how I will continue to approach sketchbooks from this moment on, is just to say fuck it and have fun with it. Because that's all a sketchbook has to be. Don't overthink it. Just say fuck it and do it. So, I never do the first page, so yeah. But at first I wasn't really sure what to do. I doodled like things that I knew, like, oh, I had this is the old Nikolai character design. You've seen that if you've seen my earlier sketchbook tours. You've seen this character. He's different now. He's way different. But I did just kind of like that, and then, as every artist does, we draw eyes when we don't know what to do, and then I really love drawing dragons. There's quite a bit of dragons in here, and I also got really into drawing zombies in this sketchbook. So there's gonna be a lot of those. Not just those two, and that one. And then I made this guy. So this is the new Nikolai. At first his name was Mikael for a while, but it was too close, like Mikael, and I didn't like it, so I changed it. But since I don't use this version of Nikolai anymore, I decided to name this guy Nikolai instead. But yeah, when I first drew him, I thought he really looked like a lost puppy, and I just fell in love with him right there and then. And this is the character that I drew for the most in the beginning of the sketchbook, and then it's kind of like changed from then. But I do really love this character a lot. I'm gonna turn on a light here. I'm using natural light, but I'm gonna do that as well. There we go. But yeah, I love this guy. He's great. And then kept kind of drawing him. This is also like, I was trying to find my footing and how I want to like go with the fuck it mentality. But I drew my cat. That's Merlin. You've seen him before. And then one of my friends was just like, draw a toaster. So I did. But it was just like drawing random stuff, stickers, but it turned out way more insane over time. This was also just more Nikolai, and wanted to give Nikolai a partner, so this is Amir. And he looks different on the next page, and he's like the most handsome man I've ever made. But yeah, I just started like going with the flow, doodling, doing whatever the fuck I wanted. If I got an idea, I would draw it out. I wouldn't even think about it. Before, I was like, I don't want to do character design in my sketchbook because what if I never draw the character again? That has changed. So as you can see, this is what Amir looks like more like accurately than that, and he is so handsome and I love him. Also birch trees, love birch trees. Kith. And Material Girl, I love these two. They're goofy in my head. But yeah, I got on the side of TikTok that was like, you know, My Little Pony infection I use, and I was like, I want to do my own infection thing. And Nikolai and Amir both came from a dream that I had. So, and there was a zombie apocalypse happening in the dream, but now I'm working on making the infection a bit weirder, and I'm calling it the Rot. And I have an entire journal of like my world building, because everything that I do takes place in one cohesive universe, even though it's not cohesive at all. It's a fucking mess. But the Rot is like a big player within that universe. So this was the first like draft of like what the different stages would look like, but I am thinking about changing it. Nikolai is infected. Amir is immune. I hate it when I come home and my boyfriend is covered in eyes. That was a quote that was said because I was drawing these on live stream. I draw a lot during live streams on TikTok, so you can see me drawing like 90% of this sketchbook live. But then I just wanted to like roughly draw out what Amir's body type would look like, because I really enjoy drawing muscles. A lot of people is like, ooh, it's like a sexual thing, or, you know, you're trying to entice people by drawing naked men. It's just like, no, I just really enjoy drawing muscles. I love doing muscle studies because it's just really cool to see how like the body works. And that continues on here, where I want to compare Amir and Nikolai with like what their body types are like and skin tones. And I really found myself enjoying drawing skin with alcohol markers. I really fell in love with alcohol markers in this sketchbook. And you can see more like the fuck it mentality. I found this random piece of like, it was sticker paper, and I just kind of stuck it in because I felt like it at the moment, and then I just doodled random shit in the holes because fuck it. And then we got Colton, who I didn't draw much in the sketchbook, weirdly enough. Like last sketchbook tour, I think I had like a bunch of Colton. Colton was everywhere, and now he's just kind of there once. The My Little Pony thing came in again because I was on live, and I was like, what if I drew them as My Little Ponies? That would be weird, haha, funny. And then I did it, and then I couldn't stop. And I just drew Nikolai as his like pony Sona over and over again, and I made it canon that Amir is a My Little Pony fan, and it's actually him that did these drawings. So that's canon now. That's canon lore. And then it's just, I needed to have more characters, so I made this guy. His name is Johann. He's German. He's part of like the same story idea. Some more dragons, a younger version of Johann before he got all scarred up. And then I drew Kane Parker because he's my favorite spider person. I'm more of a DC fan than Marvel fan, even though I do have a Across the Spider-Verse poster on my wall right now. But generally, I'm more of a DC Comics fan. Just look in my bookshelf. But yeah, this is the full group as of now, plus another one that shows up later. But yeah, it's Sarah, Avery, and Johann, and then Amir and Nikolai. I just kind of wanted to doodle them out and see roughly how I imagine them. And then in here, I wrote out the stages of infection with actual words. Did I miss one of these folding pages? I did, no. No, I did. Okay, I haven't missed anything. Okay. But yeah, and then I did a little thing of a comic of Nikolai and Amir finding... Oh yeah, and this is also just like a random character design that I'm not gonna use. I just wanted to doodle a guy out. But yeah, it's this comic thing is about this little folder that I made where you can open it up, and it is a file on Nikolai, and it's like, this file exists within the canon of the universe because he was a test subject for a thing, spoilers, story thing, but I made an entire test profile for him of, like, notes, and I did some, like, there's a vivisection report of him and all the notes they took, and then the tests that they ran on him, and there's, like, parts that have been blacked out and redacted, hidden, you know, that kind of stuff. Because I thought that would be cool, and it's like a neat little world building thing at a small scale, because small scale things are cute. And it's in a tiny little folder that I made, and I love it. I'm so happy with how this turned out. It's so goofy, but so angsty at the same time. And if you know me, you know I love my angst. I'm an angsty boy. But yeah, then, so Nikolai and Johan and Amir, they're all in a relationship together. Nikolai was the first one to approach Johan with, like, Amir being like, hey, we should talk to him. And then Nico was like, I can approach him first. And then they all just ended up being together. Also, zombie dragons, because yes. More just body studies, because they're funny. I put Nikolai through some shit. And then also Ghost, because I haven't drawn him in a while. And then, this is, like, the conception of this guy. So, he didn't have a name for the longest time. His name is Ellis, and he's gonna show up way later in the sketchbook. But I drew this, and I thought he looked like a wet cat. And now I love him. I also got some paint markers from my mom, and I was just playing around with figuring out how to use those. Stuff happens. More dragons. Can you tell I like dragons yet? And then more dragons. Random. I have a tiger mask that I'm working on. This is not what it's gonna look like. That was just a random doodle. And then more Ellis, because I wanted to figure out what he would actually look like properly. I also drew him cut up because that was fun. And then more zombie stuff. I kept on working on Ellis on here as well, and then some more Johan. Try and figure out his body type as well, just playing around with drawing muscle. And then, so Ellis has a scar on the side of his head, like he has been shot in the head because of lore reasons. But, yeah. More on Ellis later. My DC Comics OC Misha finding out that he's a monster fucker. It's stupid. It's because of, fucking Titans Beast World Tour Gotham that came out a couple of months ago. I read that and it's like, oh, canon werewolf Jason Todd. And I love Jason Todd. And if you watch my other sketchbook tours, you know Misha, you know I ship him with Jason Todd. That was the reason he was made, but now he's grown from that a little bit. But I just had to draw him with a werewolf Jason Todd. And it's like an actual werewolf, not how it is in Beast World Tour. He still has some semblance of humanity. But it was just like a fun thing that I did. And then angst time. Colton and Arthur, my sad little night boys, more zombies and zombie dragons. Where am I? But yeah, I want to redraw this drawing that I did of them. You can find that on, like, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever. But I want to redo that drawing. And then I drew him dead. Because stuff happens. And then more Colton. This is Colton when he was 19. So while he was training to be a knight before he became a knight, so it was like it's technically in the middle of the story, but it's also very early in, like, the timeline. And this was the conception of Jeremy. It started with this. I just wanted to draw something weird, and then I did. And then I was like, what if I did the tentacles thicker? And Jeremy was made. And then for the next several pages, I could not stop drawing Jeremy. He is the sixth character in the group with Nikolai and Amir. That is Jeremy. I'm also working on making a Jeremy plush. because I thought that would be nice to have. But yeah, Jeremy is a weird little creature. He can say yippee, meow, yeehaw. Those are the 3 things he can say. And he's kind of cute. He's like creepy, but also kind of cute, and I love him. And he loves he loves country music. The only thing that is like left of Jeremy's humanity before he turned into this thing is that he was a really big cowboy fan and a really big country music fan, so he just canonically gets a cowboy hat at some point, and it's like his favorite thing, and he freaks out when he loses the cowboy hat. Whoop, almost skipped a page. But yeah, I bought the fabric to make the plushie at the path. This is kind of cool. But yeah, then I messed up on his face, so I decided to turn it into something creepy. I drew my Transformers OC again, because it's been a while since I did that. And then I got a shirt. It's the shirt that I'm wearing right now, my flannel. But yeah, I got it, and I kept the little tag, and I drew in it. This I really like. That's kind of like the vibe for the stuff with Nikolai and Amir. That's kind of like the vibe. There's Ellis again. Stuff happens. Zombies. Zombie dragon. Lego Ninjago returned. Lego Ninjago took over my mind again. More Ellis. I gave Jeremy cowboy boots. More zombies. Buy dirt. Just buy dirt. And then more Johan, because he's very handsome. And more, like, studies. Another Lego Ninjago drawing. Did I miss? No, the Lego Ninjago stuff. Yeah, the Lego Ninjago stuff later. But another Lego Ninjago drawing. Another dragon. That is a concept that I made, but I never finished it. Never turned into an illustration or anything. More zombies. That, I just used random markers, and I drew straight up with marker. And that one reminded me of Barbie. So it's like, this Barbie eats flesh. And then there's also the shepherd. Follow the shepherd. He scares me. Misha went through some things in this sketchbook. Some more Jason and Misha. Because it was cute. And then I also was like, but what if I just tore his leg off? What if I absolutely mutilated him? And then I did that. And then I started thinking about some world building stuff. This sketchbook just like switches back and forth all the time. More dragons. You can see the bleed through here from the markers. But Lego Ninjago came back in my noggin. So I drew Kai, Moro. I did a little weird version of Kai, and then it was like, what if Kai had like a fire dragon form? And that was that. Kind of inspired by another kind of fire dragon that I made once. And then more Kai, more of that thing. There's Kai again. Some more world building doodles to kind of figure it out. And then more Johan. The shepherd is back. Whatever that is. Another Jeremy. I like teeth. And the ibis bird. I just started thinking, like, what the fuck is the name of that bird? And I couldn't think of it, and then I finally figured it out, so I had to draw it and, like, remember it. And then I started to kind of, like, try to figure out a pirate character. Never did anything with it, but, like, I was trying, at least. He's kind of cute. Kind of like him. And then more Misha. Teeth. I hurt him a lot, because I can. Johnny Cage, because I love Mortal Kombat 1. And then I kind of like drafted out a comic that I never made. I just kind of had an idea for it. And then more Jason and Misha, but this time just being cute. Because I love me my kind of vampiric elf horror boy. And then this one is kind of like, got a lot of bleach through with it, but that's another Misha right there, hidden. And then, so technically I started here, like just doodling out Ellis, again, trying to figure out his design. Very much inspired by Less Friction. Less Friction, by the way. I love Less Friction. You do not understand. It's become a running gag on my TikTok lives that I am just Less Friction propaganda. It's not actually there for art. You are there for me to show you Less Friction so you will start listening to Less Friction, because I love their music so fucking much. And their music is like 90% of the inspiration for this entire thing, because it's like they're in space. Cool. So listen to Less Friction, please. They have like under 90,000 listeners each month, which like is a lot of people, but still in the grand scheme of like the amount of people that listen to music and how many listeners other artists have, show them some love. Show Less Friction some love. Show my favorite, like, I love them. Like, Less Friction, Starset, and like that kind of music. Like, Less Friction has such cinematic, wonderfully masterpieces of music that have such immaculate vibes. Listen to them, please. But yeah, then I was like just doodling out. Oh, so they hit the second tower. More Ellis, like figuring out his design. This is what I finally landed on. Still keeping that wet cat vibe, and I love him. This is a creature that will show up in the concept as well. He kind of has a rebound with that. And then more Ellis, I wanted to figure out all of his scars because lore reasons. And he is a pilot and a mechanic. He starts off as a mechanic and then he becomes a pilot. So he has to have a boyfriend as well, of course. So this is Seamus. His full name is Seamus River Morgan. And at first he was also gonna be a pilot, but then it kind of just became, oh, he's a mechanic. He's the head mechanic. And Ellis is his, like, apprentice, or, like, is a mechanic with him, but he's, like, newer to the ship. More of this creature, because I really like drawing it. This is my favorite drawing of him, by the way, just because of how his face turned out. I prefer the suit in this one, like the final version that I did, but I prefer how his face turned out here, because that is more accurate than any of the other times that I've drawn him, just like how I imagine him in general. But I figured out his suit more, his height comparison with Ellis. He's tall. He's a tall man. And more of the creature. And this is Seamus's ex-wife, Karen. She starts off as kind of a bitch, but then she turns into a great ally for the group. So, nice. Another pony, Nikolai. But yeah, dragons, zombies. What else is new? And then just some random doodles because I didn't know what to do. Here is like the height comparison of all of them. So Seamus is 7 foot tall, Ellis is 5'5", and Karen is 5'9". So he is a big boy. Seamus is 42, Ellis is 26, and Karen is 39. So they used to be married. They are together currently. They break up for a little while because of a dispute about Ellis wanting to become a pilot, and Ellis has a rebound with that thing. With that thing. But yeah, then I drew Amir again and Nikolai because it's been a while since I drew them. He just turned out so handsome, so it's just like Nikolai wants to eat him. The part of the infection that compels people to like become cannibals or like what turns them into like eating other people's flesh. Neurons activated because he saw he saw Amir with a tan and was like, God damn, I want to eat that man. Somebody asked me how to draw a werewolf, so I kind of doodled one out quickly. Jeremy. David. Another dragon, his name is Bartholomew. And then this is Natalia. She is Ellis' mentor when he becomes a pilot. She is also his unofficially adoptive mom. She basically forcefully adopts him against his will, but also he gives her a cup that says world's best mom, but then he has like he did a strike through of mom and just wrote captain instead, but she's a proud mom. She does not agree with Ellis's romantic options or his like love life because she is a former friend of Seamus. They used to be pilots together. Seamus used to be a pilot before he became a mechanic. And they used to fly together, and she does not like that her unofficially adoptive son, the boy that she was just like, you're mine now, is dating her former co-worker. She thinks that is kind of like, why did you do that? But then also, like, his rebound is an actual just eldritch space horror from beyond time and space, and it's just like, oh, that's worse. And yeah, I did it. I finished it. That's the entire sketchbook. That was all of it. I did a lot. I did a lot in this one, and I'm very happy with what I did. And I have the new one waiting. I got a new one waiting for me so that I can start it later. But yeah, that's the entire sketchbook. So my advice to you, if you're gonna have a sketchbook, is say fuck it, vibe, and just, if you have an idea, draw it. Don't think about if it fits into the page with the other stuff. Just kind of do it. It'll turn out great. It's fun. Sketchbooks are meant to have fun, not to overthink and overanalyze and get panicked about. Just have fun with it. So, yeah. Have a good day, have a good night, what time it is, but a good time. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Let's see how long that takes.